Shalom. First and foremost, we have to give praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, double honors to our apostles and the elders of greatness who that surely do well. Salutation to each and every one of the Akim that push this gospel of there in sincerity and in truth, and to the sincere Akwat that listen in silence to you also. We say Shalom. Right, these are two brothers from Trinidad, right? Brother Howard and Brother Lamar coming to do another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. Right, so we basically are open forum. We starting with Isaiah 44 and also Isaiah 14. All right. Basically a prophecy, right? And also the apostles of great millstone actually went into it also on the last weeks. All right. So I'll start off with Isaiah 44 here. It says, "But now listen to me, Jacob, my servant, Israel, my chosen one." You understand? So the Most High is speaking to a particular race and group of people, right? He ain't speak to all the other nations of the earth. When they go into, where is that, Genesis chapter 10, the table of nations, right? The descendants of Ham, the descendants of Shem, the descendants of Japheth, right? And each one of them also break up into sub-nations. The Most High chose one particular person, which was Abraham. All right, and the scripture speak about us. Just get a real quick here. Abraham, who he called, and from Abraham he so can Isaiah 51 and verse 2. It says, "Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bear you." And that is why the scribes and Pharisees could have told you how shy at the time also we only have one father, it was Abraham. But Yahushua was forcing on them because their acts and the works wasn't the works of Abraham, which was by the works of faith. Their works was the works of the law. All right? There's a total difference. And this is with Christianity itself. They fail to realize it's not by the works of the law. This is why a lot of men, even now when we get to analyze a lot of things with other men also who are of the circumcision, knowing that they are Israelites, they think it's because of the works of the law, but not the works of faith. You understand? Yes.
Galatians chapter 3, verse 16. It says, "Now to Abraham and his seed were promised me. He said not, and the seed as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed shall
Go ahead now.
Here can mention Abraham was the chosen seed, right? The scripture here, scripture say basically, again here Abraham, the promise was made, not to him, not of many seed, but as of one. Because the Lord separated nations, you know what I mean? But as he separated nation, he had one chosen people, one chosen nation, which is Israel.
And then he said, Abraham shall thy name be, because he's a father of a multitude. But even though he's a father of a multitude of basically, I think 8 different nations, there's only one nation that his name would actually be established in. Because that is why now in modern days they talk about the Abraham Accord and all these different things. But through Israel, he say, yes, your lineage shall be as the sand of the sea. Because we are the most populous people upon the face of the earth. You understand? So it says, look unto Abraham your father and unto Sarah that bear you, for I called him alone and bless him and increase him, because it also had Haran, right, which was I think was also his brother, and an next person. Forgive me because a long time I ain't going into that history, but he had 3 brothers, 2 brothers, if I'm not mistaken, and Nahor. You understand? They were brothers. I think through Nahor, Lot came. You understand? I see nephew. right? But God chose Abraham. When you go into second Ezra chapter 5, it says it's only one people that the Most High called. You understand? And the scripture also says, Abraham, the blessings went on to Isaac because it had Ishmael, it had uh, it had Midian and few other brothers, right? And from Isaac it went on to who? Esau and Jacob. But the scripture say he cast away Esau and chose Jacob. You understand? And blessed him and increased him. Right? For Yahweh shall comfort Zion, which goes back to the Hebrew word to Zion one, which means the monument. So Jacob is that monument of the Most High. He will comfort all who waste places, and he will make the wilderness like Eden, and the desert like the garden of Yahweh. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. So this promise actually goes on to one particular group of people. You understand? Yes.
Oh, yeah, we're in.
That is Isaiah 51, verse 2 and 3.
Um,
Yeah, you could bring Isaiah 40.
start from one.
Yeah.
Right, it says in Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. It says for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel.
He will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. What do you mean that he will have mercy on Jacob? Meaning at a point in time that he was angry with them. Mercy means kasad, loving kindness. So he basically goes back to have what? Favor on them. Because he once put them by as if he forsook them, but he never really forsook them. In the time of Zedekiah, when he gave the the prophecy to Jeremiah to give unto Baruch to read to some of the elders and the people who was carried away captive to Babylon. He said, "Do I do these things?" Roughly paraphrasing, he said, "I will return unto you." You understand? And bring it back to the land because through my wrath and anger you caused me to do this to you. But then I will turn back to you. You understand?
Basically, it's
Good.
called chapter 1 and verse 7 says, "But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah and save them by Yahweh their power, and will not save them by bows, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now, when she had been the Ruhamite, she conceived and bare a son. Then said Paul, call his name Lo Amai, for ye are not my people, I will not be your God, because it just mentioned the scripture, just reading basically it's the reason why the law was vexed with us basically because we went off. If I remember you say correctly, right? We're giving the breakdown here, right? It says verse 10 it says, "Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sands of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. It shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living power. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. Great shall be the day of Jezreel." For Israel.
Can he see the whole? You understand? And that one head will be our Yahushai. That is why he said, "I shall bring them together into one fold." You understand? Because all of us went to the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. You understand that Judah had to go off in the sense that Israel itself could come back. You understand? When you read Jeremiah chapter 3, around verse 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. You understand? They talk about treacherous, they talk about Israel and then Judah. She saw this go on, but still she went off. But as Big Brother Marcus and he went into that class, that had happened, that Israel, you understand, could come back. So he could show mercy on the two houses. That is why Yahushua said, other sheep that I have that is not of this fold. And then when you go into the history, as the apostles of Great Millstone always taught us, you have to know the history in order to understand the mystery. You understand? So we through the spirit and power Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, the Rakah Kodash, we understand this. You understand? So the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshai is having mercy upon us, loving kindness, because he remembered us. You understand? As he said in Ezekiel 16 or Ezekiel 23, I remember all your loving kindness in the wilderness. You understand? I can remember the things I already did, but he also remembered the time that we went off. But it's at a point in time you're showing the most I love. You understand? Yeah. So, yeah, so,
Nah, it's a kind. You know, I used to know Jeremiah 3, verse 7. I'll read from verse 6. It says, Yahweh said also unto me in the days of in the days of Josiah the king, had thou seen that which backsliding Israel had done. She is gone up upon every high mountain, under every green tree, and they had played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me, but she returned not. And her treacherous sister Judah saw it, and I saw when of all the cause whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
and you know, hey, million tree, that is a hurtful thing, you know, even towards a man. Because if you understand why the Lord speaking as a being in this position of being a man and a husband, all right, when it is that you have a wife and she goes out of wedlock onto another man, she devalues herself. That's why they talk about a car mileage. You understand? She devalues herself, and not only that, the other person that she goes on to basically will ill treat her. You understand? And basically degrade her. And that's actually what went on with Israel. That's why there is some of the reasons why a man is actually get vexed. You understand? Because they devalue themselves, they degrade themselves, and a man will not treat you like shit. And when they read Ezekiel 23, it talk about a going on tail of us. And in Jeremiah 15, it says, who shall, 15:5, I believe, it says, who shall bemoan thee, or who shall pity thee, O Israel? The Assyrians, they love us. All these other nations, where they do to you? And the scripture saying Lamentation 2:15, all of them, they wag and they clap their hand, they hiss and say, this is the day we look for. But these are the nations that they went on to. You understand? So you have to put yourself in the most high stead of why it is that, you know, why he was so upset. Not only you defile, you degrade and devalue yourself. You understand? These nations will take advantage of it. That is why he put us in our hands to see, hey, these nations will love us. Is that who sang that song? Drake, these niggas will love us. Some.
So back in Isaiah 14, right? So that we have finished it. Yeah, more or less, more or less, more or less. Right? Right, yeah. So we're back in Isaiah 14, right?
God.
It says, I'll read it over. It says, for Yahweh will have mercy upon Jacob and will yet choose Israel, set them in their own, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
God, strangers that cleave into the house of Jacob is the other tribes that went off, which is the from Ephraim unto Manasseh. All right, and they're going and cleave um want us, even though I think the NLT have a different reading, right? Yeah, I think the NLT have a different reading. Matter of fact, in the NLT, so let me see if I can get it. Right? But the scripture also says in Jeremiah 3, the safer man put away his wife and she go into another and come back. You understand? Shall not that land be greatly polluted, but don't come back unto me. showing you the kind of mercies that Yahweh Shem Shai happen on the house of Israel. Because we filthy, we unclean. The scripture talk about our righteousness is as filthy rags. Right? Let me see. So I think NLT Isaiah 14, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get it here. Or was it in the RSV? Because Ella Apostle Bar actually brought it out in the NLT. Just let me see, I think it's in RSV. And shall come to pass that the let me check the RSV select. Let's see.
You find everybody, right?
So yeah, it says Isaiah in the RSV, right? Isaiah 14 verse 1 and 2. It says, and Yahweh will have compassion on Jacob, and will again choose Israel, and will set them in their own land, and aliens will join them and will cleave to the house of Jacob.
Yeah, everything.
Those will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them in Yahweh's land as male and female slaves.
Yeah, we have a land of Israel, and Jerusalem.
They will take captive those who were their captors.
Clean.
And that was said last time in one of the last videos I do. Basically, yeah, you're gonna have people who were not going to slavery, but you're not gonna be us. All right. They will take captive those who were their captors and rule over those who oppressed them. And this so plain. Hey, I would like that MAGA pastor for Donald Trump, and I think it's Pete Hegseth, to actually see this video and this precept within the RSV NLT, and it hit them like, hey, you know something, we actually oppress those Negroes underneath to all unrighteousness. I wonder if it's weird really talking about. You understand? It says, when Yahweh has given you rest from your pain, who went through pain
Israel.
and turmoil? These banking elites ain't go through nothing. That whole what you call it what do they call it again? But they went through Germany, the Holocaust. They ain't go through nothing. We went through. We went through years. How long the Holocaust was? Saying was 60 years. You could check it up. Because World War One and World War Two roughly went on for like what 2 years. They ain't go through nothing. We went through what 400 and some years of slavery. So within that time, how many slaves died? Men, women, and children.
12 years. Holocaust lasted for 12 years from January 1933 to May 1945.
And we went through 430 years of plus hardcore bondage, lynchings, murders, rape, children, separation, self-hate. All right. Now a lot of our people don't even know themselves, right? And hard service with which you were made to serve. What in the so-called Holocaust, what hard service they was made to serve? With a yoke of iron and chains on the neck? No, they didn't. All right. I will stop there and you
Something, yeah?
go ahead.
These are Isaiah 66, 16. It says, for I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come, that I will gather all nations down. They shall come and see my glory, and I will set a sign among them. I will send those that escape of them unto the nation of Tarshish, full and Lud, and draw bow of Tubal and Javan to the eyes afar off, and and have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles, and they shall bring all the brethren for an offering unto Yahweh out of all nations, upon horses, and in chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts. Right? But these are swift beasts. So that's swift beasts. Sometimes the scriptures speak about um describe these vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
like vehicles as beasts or animals or
Yeah.
whatever the case might be. So the swift beast speaking about chariots, it could be jets, it could be
Planes. Yeah.
the case might be.
They're trying to use it like a bargaining chip. Like, Lord, you see, we bring your people here safely.
Yeah. So my holy mountain, Jerusalem, said Yahweh, as the children of Israel bring forth offering in the clean vessel
Mm-hmm.
unto the house of Yahweh. And I will take them also, and I will also take them, priests, Levites, say Yahweh. So the Lord will actually say, people, God, I people. Please see me when God, I people. And after that time of distress,
No.
after that time of distress, what you call World War III, the case might be, the Lord will and God, his love.
That's right. It says Isaiah, Isaiah 44. Right. So it says here again, right? Yet Isaiah 44 start back at 1. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. Right? And that's speaking about mainly in the land of America, where it have the mass majority of the awakening of our people, which is the so-called African Americans or Native Americans, right? That dry ground. The water is the word of Yahweh Shemeshai that He is pouring upon us to rejuvenate us. Because America come like the valley. Because when you look up the word valley, it means a low-lying land, which is America. You understand? Valley of dry bones. You understand? He pouring all that water right now upon us that we waking up in great multitudes, mainly in the land of America. And then it trickling down also to the Caribbean and different regions, different parts of the world. All who will hear the word of Yahweh Shemeshai, they waking up.
This is because of Obadiah 1, verse 11. It says, in the day that thou shouldest on the other side, in the day strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into the gates, into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even thou was as one of them, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood closely to cut off those of his that did escape, neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
So basically, we are people that was robbed of spoil, and our so-called big brother, the so-called white man, he saw it and help, forward our affliction of even in that time, he held forward that affliction, right? But then coming on to the time of prior to 1619 there, you understand, he was the main cause, you understand, but he took with that wisdom, that knowledge, understand, he beat it out of us, as we like to pull that example in Roots, you know, the man name is Kunta Kinte, but he beat it out and say, no, your name is Toby.
When you use our word just now, they say be big brother. And
Mhm.
our big brother is supposed to, our big brother is supposed to look up to you, brother.
Exactly.
You know, be that covering for him, and he wasn't that.
Exactly.
See, don't be brother, be covenant. Right?
You understand? So it says, and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessing upon thine offspring. And you see that going on right about now. A lot of people, especially the elites, the Illuminati, they are amazed at the fact that we're getting back this knowledge. The apostles witnessed that already. You understand? When the guy came to them, how the F you get back all your knowledge, whatever the case is. The kind of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding springing up in Jake right about now. The history, it is amazing, but it's the spirit or the vibrations of the Most High Abba Shem El Shai. And my blessing upon thy offspring, you understand? And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. You understand? Because when a tree really flourishing, if you actually go by a river bank and see the trees that by a river bank, it's more sturdy, more strong, it is more fed. You understand? So the Most High is pouring out that word upon us right about now. And those who know that they are Israelites are the ones who closest to Yahweh Hashem and Shai. A lot of our people don't know that now. It will trickle down, just like how it trickle down from the apostles of great millstone to us. You understand? We see it now, and where the fruits is flourishing. You understand? It says, and it shall spring up as among the grass as willows by the water courses. And every civilization, or every ancient civilization, I should say, when you do the history, was actually established by a river course. You understand? Right now, we are being established by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which Yahushai say what I am, that spring that come everlasting, the everlasting waters.
Yeah.
Verse 5, one shall say, I am Yahweh's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And we see all these people doing that. You don't see the East Indian doing that. You don't see the Chinese doing that, right? Unless they have some kind of Israelite background. You don't see Esau doing that. The only Edomites doing that right about now is Amalek in the land, and they can't even do a paternity test. It
Yeah.
is illegal for them, the Jews, to do it. It is illegal for them to do a paternity test.
Yeah, no problem.
Because every paternity test, they did not the legal inhabitants of that. So it is
So they
illegal.
know.
They know. It have so-called Jews that did paternity test and say I'm not a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So that is why they make it illegal.
Simple in in plain sight.
And the Palestinians know that is why they persecuting them. They probably form a pact with the Egyptians, right? Because remember what the former president of Egypt say, Abdullah Nasser, we and them can never have peace because they left here black, they came back white. Iran know, Russia know, and who knows what other nation in the Middle East know that they are not the true Jews, but they want to go and form the Abraham Accord, which they are Abrahamic tribes, right? We won't lie, Esau is an Abrahamic tribe, right? But he is not from Jacob.
Apparently, Abrahamic child, you mean it was Shemitic.
Um, well, other than Shemitic, because Elam is Shemitic, Moab and Japhet is Shemitic, but they're not Abraham direct descendants. So
Right.
The Abrahamic Accord is basically like Ishmael, Midian, Jacob, Esau, and the other sons that he had now.
Right.
So
Because
we'll go back to the Arabs. Yeah.
because as I was watching I interviewed Captain Tazari
Yeah.
the other day. He mentioned something to the guy. He said it's kind of unfair for the Jewish community to say um, if somebody says something the
Shemitic.
anti-Shemitic when word Shem really goes back to the word when I say anti-Shemitic,
Um,
the word no, they don't say anti-Semitic.
yeah, they say anti-Semitic, anti-Shemitic.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. Anti-Semitic when the word Semitic when it goes back to Shem, right, which was one of the sons of uh, Noah, right, and he was the progenitor of the Shemitic people consist of the Moabites, right? The Elamites,
Elam,
huh?
Ammon,
Ammon,
Elam.
Elam, Esau also,
Mm.
right? And
It,
Jake,
and it have other races as the Assyrians.
yeah.
It have other races that came from Shem. We don't even,
So
yeah, the
it, it,
Hyksos.
you can't tell a next Shemitic person that the anti-Shemitic.
Shemitic.
It don't make sense.
I'm like, they just got a fucking oxymoron or something.
Yes,
So.
it don't make sense, right? So they established themselves as the original Jews, and that is just it. What about the different tribes,
Mm.
right? Besides Judah, right? They have different tribes. So it don't make sense.
And as a woman from Palestine say, she say, I am Shemitic, or you could call me anti-Shemitic, and I'm
Exactly.
Shemitic.
Exactly. Let's speak it up.
And one shall say, I am Yahweh, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, and surname himself by the name of Israel. And that is why you notice in these days, a lot of Negroes, Latinos, and natives, what they're doing on the profile account, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they put in Yashara or Israel at the end of the name. We are the only people, and I sure a lot of people did that, not even knowing the scripture. That is just the spirit being poured upon them. A lot of them did that, not knowing the scripture. Hey, I'm going to change my name to Israel. It's an Israelite.
Yeah.
You understand? When they read this, because I can remember doing that. You understand? Because with me it was like Lamad Banyamian. You understand? Or Lamad Yashar, like in certain thing. And then when I read this, I whoa, mind blown. You know,
Oh,
it had the mind blown scriptures at it. Yeah. So I sure I wasn't the only person. You understand? So this is a future prophecy, right? Where the Most High is dealing with the Negroes, Latinos, and this is to show. And going back into Deuteronomy 28 and was that 46 or 48, when he said, the curses shall be assigned unto you. This is why sometimes people might hear me say, the curses is a curse, but also the curse was set as a blessing for us to know who we
yeah.
are.
That's
You
a
understand?
fact. Fact. It have no shadow of a doubt. You know, in closing, it have no shadow of a doubt that we are not the truth, the Lord's children. We are the Lord's people, right? As the brother said, the curses it's clear identification to show that we are the Lord's people, right? Regardless of what they try, what they say, what fake facts they try to pull up, whatever they try to debate, it will be irrefutable because it is what it is.
Yeah, kind of Donald Trump does say fake news.
Yeah, fake news. It is what it is. You know, you're seeing the ones who rob and spoil, the ones who run the streets. Yeah, you can see the Indian, and he might not even be a Indian. You see certain other race on the streets. Yeah. Some of them getting the judgment early, as they could see in the states also. You understand? But ultimately, the mass majority are people who going through this neighbors.
And and as they say that, remember, I have a TikTok to go through back, you just message yourself on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
That the part class to when the scripture say you thyself shall discontinue from
Right.
our heritage.
Right.
What else showing in that TikTok, Jake is the only people that they actually beat their culture out of them. The Italians
See?
came knowing who they are, they keep certain dishes and that kind of thing. The French came, the Chinese came, and remember it at a point in time, Kamala, the present prime minister, but she was the opposition leader at the time. But the present prime minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, she said at a point in time, I can't remember during the election, whatever, but was on a platform, she said, we have our slave masters surname. They came down here with their forefathers' surname like Ramki, Sun Prasad, and them kind of thing.
Kamla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that TikTok showing you that they actually beat our whole heritage, which goes back into Jeremiah 17, verse 4. Even thyself shall discontinue from your heritage.
Robbed and spoiled, man.
Robbed and spoiled. So what he pointing to? Us. And Baruch said it. Righteous art thou, O Lord, for the curses come upon us. You righteous, and within truth it is being shown. Anything else?
No.
Right, with that, well, we want to give our praises, honor, and glory again to our Father Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, upon honors to our apostles and elders of great nation, surely do well. Salutation to each and every one of the Akim that push this gospel in sincerity and truth. And to the Aquad that listen in silence, say shalom.